My name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Museum Open House. This ongoing series features and highlights many of the outstanding museums and other cultural institutions. The main purpose of most programs is to inform viewers about current and upcoming exhibits, various programs, resources, and other opportunities that are available for the general public. Today via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guests Cynthia Cole, Garrow Throop, and Vladimir Zimakov, three very talented artists who are associated with the Newton Art Association. Cynthia serves as the group's president. Garrow is the exhibition chair, and Vladimir served as the judge of the Newton Art Association's current exhibition entitled The Art of Change, which is on display at the Wedeman Art Gallery at Lasell University until December 8th. Vladimir is also the director of the gallery, as well as being a professor of art and graphic design at Lasell. During the program, we're learning why and how the Art of Change exhibition came about. We'll go on a behind-the-scenes tour and in the process come to better understand and appreciate the wide range of artistry on display, as well as hear about the Newton Art Association's overall mission and the many opportunities that are benefits that are provided both for members and the general public. Let's start by meeting our guest and then learning all about the Art of Change exhibition and the Newton Art Association. Welcome. So delighted the three of you are able to be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, last week I had the wonderful opportunity to visit the gallery, tour and enjoy the exhibition. And it was just another reminder of going to Newton Art Association exhibition and being so impressed with the wide range of talent that's on display and that we're fortunate to have in the community. So eager to hear much more about it and have you inform viewers. But before we jump right to that, I think it would be of interest if each of you would briefly add maybe a little bit about your background, perhaps artistic interest, professional interest. Cynthia, would you start, please?
Yes. I began a passionate study of photography and art in 2014 after I retired as a clinical and research neonatologist. And what this time has provided in terms of a creative outlet has just been nothing short of wonderful. So I paint abstract, both non-specific abstract, as well as a hardline semi-representative abstract. So those are what I do. And when there's time, I'd love to tell you more about the Newton Art Association.
Terrific, terrific. Well, we'll hear shortly, and we'll definitely have the website at the end of the program for credits for even more, but thank you very much. Garrow, welcome. A little bit about yourself, please.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, my background is in graphic design. I had a studio for probably 40 years. And when I retired, I wanted to do something, but I still like graphic design, but I wanted to do something else. So tried a lot of different things and settled on painting, and I've just relived my life all over again. It's just wonderful to do. I find it's very nourishing, and I also find that it relieves a lot of stress, as particularly as I get older.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to seeing your submission as well as Cynthia's shortly. Vladimir, welcome. A little bit, please, about yourself.
Hello, my name is Vladimir. I've been at Lasell University for a little over 10 years now. And I came from Los Angeles specifically for this position. So I teach at Lasell University, graphic design, typography courses, printmaking courses, and I also oversee the gallery for the last 10 years. Myself, I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, printmaker. I do limited edition books, and it's just been a great pleasure to be involved in the artistic community here. This is, I want to say, our 5th or 6th Newton Art Association show. And it's always such a pleasure to welcome this group to the gallery.
Terrific, terrific. Well, building on that, Cynthia, would you please share a little bit about the mission, perhaps some of the history, what the Newton Art Association has to offer members and the general public, please?
Be happy to. The association was founded in 1949 by James K. Bonner, who was passionate about organizing artists as a group, perhaps in a community, and just to foster each other and to foster themselves as an individual. He formed groups like this in the Northeast beach areas, Gloucester and so forth. He must have formed about 4 or 5 groups. So he was passionate about this type of organization. And our mission carries on from his mission, and that is to foster the development and careers of artists, to support them in whatever ways that we can, and to also be a voice for the wider community in terms of art exposure and appreciation. So that is it in a nutshell, okay?
Terrific, very informative. And as I mentioned, we'll hear more throughout the program, and a lot that we'll unfortunately have to leave out. People will be able to follow through in the credits with the website. Moving on to the current exhibition, Garrow, why and how did the Art of Change come about?
Well, Jay, it's been a long year, and we've had a lot of exhibits. And I knew when we were booking this that it would be, around election time, not to put a finer point on it. So I knew there were a lot of people, myself included, that were very apprehensive about what the future might bring. And that might affect their art, or they may incorporate that into their art. And I thought, why not just express it and make a show of it? So that's how we decided on the Art of Change.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Vladimir, how did you become involved with the exhibition? And as judge, what were you looking for as you judged the different submissions?
Well, Garrow reached out to me and asked if I would be a judge. I have judged those shows in the past that took place in the Wedeman Gallery. And like I said, it's always a pleasure to work with this group of artists and look at their development over the years. At this point, it's been, it's been quite a number of times, and it's all, and you know how it is with Newton artists. You see them not just here, you see them all over Newton and the greater Boston area. So it's always always brings a smile to my face when I walk into a library somewhere, I walk into a gallery somewhere and see work by some of those artists. So as far as judging, I think, our mission at the Wedeman Gallery, we really want to showcase a diversity and a variety of mediums, techniques, themes. And with such a theme, the Art of Change, it's so open-ended. And I think just looking at different ways how artists approach change, that was important for me to really showcase this variety. So I want to say there are about 52 works in the exhibition. And some artists I've selected one piece. For some of them, I selected 2 pieces, depending on how they were able to showcase this idea of change. Sometimes a diptych or a triptych would make perfect sense because the piece changes from one to another, and you got to look at them at series. And some of them captured the theme beautifully just with one image. So it's quite a variety of things, as you've seen.
Terrific, terrific. For those who haven't had the chance to visit yet, could you just give us a quick overview of how you laid it out in the gallery?
It's 2 floors of a wall space, and we have, as Vladimir said, around 50 pieces. Typically, we group them by some association, either by color or size or motif. So you'll see, so you don't get interrupted when you're looking from one to the other so much. But it's a very comprehensive show, and I think it's pretty cohesive the way the way it's laid out. I invite everybody to come.
Oh, heartily recommend that, and comprehensive indeed. Well, to give a sense of the wide range of submissions, we're fortunate to have some of the selections, and we're going to hear about them now. Uh, Garrow, would you say a few words about Ellen Faust's contribution here?
Certainly. Ellen's well known for doing the photos of Billows Pond, and this one is called Crimson Fission, Fission. It's an archival pigment print, and she says of it that this photo is part of my ongoing exploration of the beauty of Billows Pond in all seasons, all times of day, and all types of weather. I create this image in the spring of 23 as the leaves were just blossoming. Standing at the Betsy's bench, I looked into the wind rippled water and saw this awesome reflection, which I later turned upside down and flipped left to right to make it look like the trees it reflects. Seasons change. This image embodies the theme, the art of change.
Oh, it's incredible. And if people aren't familiar with Ellen's work, definitely recommend going to her website to see the range of shots she's taken of the pond.
Absolutely.
Moving on for now, a few words about Nicole Mordechai's contribution.
Well, this one is called Plated Spirit, and it's a multiple exposure archival photograph. So it's a Plated Spirit is part of a series I call The Spirit of Art.
Mm.
In this series, I blend images of artwork with either the artists themselves or with gallery visitors enjoying the art. In this case, I photographed a glass plate in an exhibit at the Peabody Essex Museum, and I blended the image with that of a woman at the opening reception.
Wow. I mean, the
That's
colors, the
remarkable.
creativity in producing something like that, that's
Yeah.
incredible, incredible.
Mm.
Speaking of incredible is your contribution, Garrow.
Oh,
Could you share a little bit about city lights, just your inspiration, how it came about, and even some of the process that you go through to produce these?
well, it's not a very sophisticated image, but when I did it, I kept thinking of the city as a living kind of entity. It's always on 24/7. The construction is going on, changing the skyline all the time.
Mm.
So we have the background of the old city and the foreground of the modern city, and the kind of intensity of the light that keeps the heartbeat as it goes, as it grows.
Could you say a little more about your process? How do you go from maybe the beginning of an idea to ending up with this wonderful finished product?
Well, this is actually a series which I call a missionary series. I'm very attracted to this kind of architectural style. Um, it also allows me a perspective and a color relationship without getting too carried away with the ability to represent a form. So I don't know until halfway through. Honestly, I don't know until
Mm.
the end if it's going to work or not. But I try and add a little experiment to each painting I do to bring it to life. And this one seemed to
Wonderful.
work pretty well.
And just one final question. What appeals to you about working in this type of medium?
I've tried oils, I've tried watercolors, I've tried other types, and actually use acrylics, but I may use branches or toilet paper or some other media to give it the kind of look I like. I think this might have been a broom, a small broom I used in some cases, and certainly I use uh, um, a plaster. I forget what they call plaster shovels or whatever they call to lay the ink down.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, moving on to you, Cynthia. give us some background, the inspiration, how you went about creating the pieces make the whole that we're enjoying now.
I thoroughly enjoy doing abstract vases. I mean, not solely vases, but I do have fun with them. And as I was doing this, I was thinking about what goes to make the whole. And so a lot of the goldish geometric figures are the pieces, and there are other pieces that are white or purple as well. But just the importance of how no one piece is going to make, obviously, the whole, but you have them all working together. So the fact that going from a piece to a whole vase was what I was trying to convey.
And at the beginning, again, the process that you undertake, do you sketch out what you envision to be the final product, a rough sketch? How do you work through your ideas?
For this type of painting, I do lots and lots and lots of sketches, trying out different ideas and what works. I also use a program called Procreate so that I can generate ideas, play with colors, play with designs, and that's also very useful as I'm generating my thoughts. But another part that's incredibly important to me is colors. And it doesn't mean you have to have a lot of colors, but what the colors are, the purple and the gold, yellowish, are complementary colors. So things of that nature, how the colors interact with each other, not only what they are, is important to me.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's definitely a piece that you need to and have the opportunity to stand in front of and enjoy and take it all in for a while. So again, encourage people to make their way to the gallery and see your work. Thank you. Moving on, Vladimir, to some of the other pieces that you judged and look at. Here we see one from longtime association member, former president James Varnum.
Yes, and I don't have artist statements, and frankly, when I'm judging the work, I don't like to read or do it really is about pure visual and just how it visually affects me. So I'm going to be talking about my own interpretations of the piece.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Artists,
Looking forward.
the artist might or might not agree, but I guess that's the beauty of judging those shows and looking at those looking at this work in the gallery, because again, the theme is so open-ended. In each one, each visitor finds something for themselves in the piece. So James, I have been a fan of his work for a long time. This in particular, I think, piece really fits the theme of the show. It's subtle change. It's a diptych. So you have the top and the bottom. You have this abstract shape that gradually goes into the other, back and forth, with subtle variations, subtle changes. So I guess to me, it spoke about the subtleties of change. And
Mhm.
little things that and you can look at this painting for a long time because it's so detailed, and the shapes look the same, but there's quite a bit of difference in between them, and just the fluidity of the lines speaks to this whole idea of movement.
Most definitely. And the colors are exquisite. Just fabulous. Let's move on to Shannon Slattery, who has two submissions, I believe.
That's right, and that's the same. I think those pieces really work as a series. They're different colors to suggest different seasons. That already speaks to change. But also I selected this one piece just because I think it captures this idea that, her textures are very fluid, like the textures are moving. But
Mm.
then Shannon is using those white contour lines to kind of lock things in place. And to me, that really spoke as an idea of change, that things are constantly moving, but at the same time, there is something that really holds things together in place so it doesn't just become, a never shifting thing. So that's what I saw in this piece. And again, Shannon might have a different interpretation of it.
No, wonderful to hear your input. And this one exemplifies just the range of pieces that are on view. A few words about what we're enjoying here.
Yeah, and Ross's piece. Well, I mean, again, and this is a personal, like I said, a personal interpretation, a personal reflection, of course. To me, when I look at this image, and for many of us, the image of the sunflower personally always reminds me of Ukraine, and also puts a
Mm.
smile on my face when I see it. And we at the gallery, we've been several years ago. We had I assembled I put together a collective Boston Artists for Ukraine, where we did quite a bit of work with fundraising efforts for the people in that country. So to me, that piece just speaks of hope and change, and hopefully change for peace. So it's in a way, I see it that way. I see it that way, and I'm sure there might be multiple interpretation. Besides that, it's just a beautifully laid out piece. I think the textures in the background work really well. Just how things are scattered, and at the same time, everything is locked into place, and very detailed. Another one of those pieces that you can look in for a long time.
Oh, stunning for sure, for sure. And related to the exhibition, you've helped coordinate an upcoming musical presentation that would like to hear a few words about, please.
Yeah, of course. So Alisa Preleva, she is a good friend, and Musica Humana is a music journey into the essence of being a human. Songs and stories from a music therapist's diary. So Alisa is wonderful musician, musical therapist, and I'm just going to read a quick statement from her here. Why play Bob Dylan on a chemo unit?
Mm.
What do lullabies have to do with an urban psychiatry clinic? How can the sound of kalimba open a space for conversation at a refugee camp? Why does music touch us so profoundly, and how can it become an instrument of social change? So Lisa will be sharing her stories and playing the music. She is coming to us from Oxford University, where she is currently a researcher. And throughout the years, she's been a music activist and a therapist working in hospitals, orphanages, psychiatric institutions, nursing homes,
Mm.
hospices, and humanitarian centers around the world. And she's going to be speaking about the change that music can have on somebody, and the effect on certain people, some of them who are terminally ill, or some of them who are in very dire positions. So that is going to be happening on December 6th at 7 p.m. at the gallery. It's a great opportunity to see the exhibition. We'll open the doors earlier. And all the information also about this, further information to reserve a space, you can do so by going to wedemangallery.com, and all the information will be there. That's how you can reserve a space. That's December 6th.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And we'll be sure to have the website in the credits at the end of the program. As we think even beyond the exhibition, The Art of Change, Garrow, what are some of the upcoming events, perhaps demonstrations, opportunities that'll be available through the Newton Art Association for members, the general public, please?
Right, right. We have a very busy winter season, actually. We'll be starting our next show called the Winter Expo on December 10th at the Allen Center. So that'll go from December 10th through the January 21st. And then Cindy was mentioning, we have our James Bonner show, which is probably our most popular show of the year. And that'll be in the Morse Center in Natick, and that will be in March and April. And we have a final show, which is our new member show, which is in May and June. So we're really busy throughout the winter into the summer. And everything will be listed on our website, newtonartassociation.com, as you say. We also have demos. I don't have a list of everything. Demos and critiques. So it's a variety of reasons to go to the website and see what's listed.
Most definitely a very vibrant group for sure.
Yeah.
You know, in closing, we're fortunate to have a couple more images that were highlighted in the graphic we just saw. Vladimir, would you share, or Garrow, a couple of words about this piece by Susan
Callahan. Yeah.
Callahan?
Vladimir, why don't you get your reaction to it? Do you have a reaction?
Yeah, and again, here's another artist that I have been following for a while, and I think in this particular piece, I think what really attracted me about it is just this uncertainty. You're not quite sure what you're looking at in this particular one. It can be a reflection in the water. It can be seen as just an abstract shape. It can be a landscape.
Mm.
And that perception, that's how we see things and how things change depending on when you are in the gallery. That's another thing. I walk through the gallery sometimes beginning of the show, in the middle of the show, towards the closing, and I see things in a different light. And that's one of those pieces that does change over time, depending on my mood, depending on the sun, depending on the lighting. So that's those are my thoughts on it.
You know, speaking of change, I found your earlier comment quite interesting that you've seen some of the members for a number of years now and how they've grown and developed as artists is a wonderful perspective for you to have on a group as well. And one final one, Vladimir, perhaps comment on this piece by Hilary Hansen-Bruhl.
Yeah, I want to say a few quick things, and then if Garrow, Cynthia want to elaborate more. Stages, different stages. It is a landscape, but again, a loosely based landscape. You do see some trees on the horizon, or they might not be trees. Again, it's one of those things where it really steps. The texture in this piece is incredible. I mean, what's going on here? And this is one of those pieces that really needs to be seen in person, because the digital copy doesn't quite do it justice. So much depth in this piece, and so much depth, and just wonderful interpretation of theme. I believe it's. I don't have a title for this. Do we have a title for that one?
Do not. I don't know.
I'm
It's
not
Hillary.
sure right now, but
Hillary
definitely
Bruhl.
a good reminder to make your way to the Wedeman Gallery. Still have lots of time, December 8th. But unfortunately for now, we've come to the end of our program. Want to thank the three of you again for taking your time to be here, informing us about the art of change, and want to wish you all continued success with future endeavors.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.